Hello there and welcome to the Science for Sleep. Tonight we explore one of the most remarkable frontiers of all, the inner lives of animals. For centuries, people believed that thinking, feeling, and reasoning were uniquely human traits. But modern science has revealed something far more astonishing. Across every corner of the planet, from oceans to forests, from the deepest burrows to the highest skies, other creatures are thinking too. They plan, solve problems, remember complex ideas, and even show signs of empathy, cooperation, and creativity. The more we learn about them, the more familiar they seem, as if each new discovery narrows the distance between human and animal minds. If you enjoy these quiet journeys into understanding, you may feel the pull of kinship in every story, the sense that we are surrounded by minds unlike ours yet built from the same spark of awareness. Dogs, for example, can detect human emotions through scent alone, perceiving feelings that we ourselves may not consciously recognize. Their world of scent is as rich and meaningful as our world of color and form. When a person experiences joy, fear, or sadness, subtle changes occur in body chemistry. Hormones shift, altering the microscopic particles that escape through breath and skin. Experiments using sweat samples have revealed that dogs can tell the difference. When they smell the scent of fear, their heart rates rise and they seek comfort from their human companions. When they smell happiness, their bodies relax and they become playful, reflecting the emotional tone they detect. In this way, empathy travels invisibly through the air, connecting species by the language of molecules. The bond between human and dog is not just behavioral, it is chemical, instinctual, and deeply emotional. Under the waves, an entirely different kind of mind stirs and dreams. Octopuses, with their 8 arms and 9 brains, slip into sleep cycles during which their skin transforms into a living display of thought. As they rest, their colors pulse and shift in waves of light, their patterns flashing from pale calm to vivid camouflage. Scientists studying these nocturnal displays found that the cycles mirror the stages of human and mammalian sleep, alternating between stillness and bursts of neural activity. During active phases, the octopus's shifting hues often resemble patterns it uses while hunting or hiding, suggesting that it may be replaying memories or rehearsing survival behaviors in dreams. Because most of an octopus's neurons live not in its head but throughout its arms, its body functions almost as a distributed brain, a thinking creature spread through flesh and motion. Watching an octopus dream is like watching thought itself made visible, an imagination written across living skin in ripples of color. In the wide blue expanses of the ocean, dolphins communicate with a sophistication that rivals human conversation. Each dolphin develops a unique signature whistle, a sound pattern that functions much like a personal name. From infancy, they learn to craft and recognize these whistles, using them to identify individuals even across great distances. When one dolphin calls out another's whistle, the recipient often responds, confirming the recognition. These exchanges endure for years, even decades, suggesting that dolphins maintain long-term social memories. Experiments have demonstrated that dolphins respond strongly to recordings of old companions' whistles even after long separations, implying an awareness not only of identity but of relationship and memory. Their communication system is rich, flexible, and personal, allowing them to maintain bonds across the vastness of the sea. In the deep blue, sound becomes the thread of society, weaving together families and friendships through waves of intelligent noise. On land, intelligence takes wing. Crows, those sleek black birds that watch us from trees and rooftops, possess memories and reasoning powers that astonish even seasoned researchers. In experiments, people wearing certain masks would harass or disturb crows, while others remained neutral. Years later, the same masked figures returned, and the crows still remembered. They scolded, mobbed, and warned others about the threat, while ignoring the neutral faces. Even more remarkably, new generations of crows learned these dangers from their elders, recognizing and avoiding the same masks without direct experience. This passing down of learned behavior, what we might call cultural memory, shows a form of social intelligence long thought unique to humans. Crows do not simply react to stimuli, they interpret faces, recall experiences, and make judgments about trust. To a crow, a familiar face is a map of history, a record of who has been kind, who has been cruel, and who can be trusted in the shifting landscape of the human world. Far from the cities and forests, on the wide grasslands and jungles of the world, elephants live in societies built on emotion and memory. Their family bonds last a lifetime, and when death visits their herds, they grieve with heartbreaking tenderness. Observers have seen elephants return to the remains of their companions, touching bones with their trunks, standing silently for long stretches, and even shedding tears. Their behavior after loss changes. They eat less, move slower, and huddle closer together, as if sharing comfort. When one elephant is distressed, others approach, rumbling softly and stroking its body in reassurance. These acts of empathy demonstrate not only awareness of another's feelings but a desire to soothe them, a form of compassion that transcends instinct. Scientists have documented such behaviors repeatedly in both wild and captive groups, showing that the capacity for grief and emotional connection exists deeply in the elephant heart. On land, intelligence takes wing. Crows, those sleek black birds that watch us from trees and rooftops, possess memories and reasoning powers that astonish even seasoned researchers. In experiments, people wearing certain masks would harass or disturb crows, while others remained neutral. Years later, the same masked figures returned, and the crows still remembered. They scolded, mobbed, and warned others about the threat, while ignoring the neutral faces. Even more remarkably, new generations of crows learned these dangers from their elders, recognizing and avoiding the same masks without direct experience. This passing down of learned behavior, what we might call cultural memory, shows a form of social intelligence long thought unique to humans. Crows do not simply react to stimuli, they interpret faces, recall experiences, and make judgments about trust. To a crow, a familiar face is a map of history, a record of who has been kind, who has been cruel, and who can be trusted in the shifting landscape of the human world. Far from the cities and forests, on the wide grasslands and jungles of the world, elephants live in societies built on emotion and memory. Their family bonds last a lifetime, and when death visits their herds, they grieve with heartbreaking tenderness. Observers have seen elephants return to the remains of their companions, touching bones with their trunks, standing silently for long stretches, and even shedding tears. Their behavior after loss changes. They eat less, move slower, and huddle closer together, as if sharing comfort. When one elephant is distressed, others approach, rumbling softly and stroking its body in reassurance. These acts of empathy demonstrate not only awareness of another's feelings but a desire to soothe them, a form of compassion that transcends instinct. Scientists have documented such behaviors repeatedly in both wild and captive groups, showing that the capacity for grief and emotional connection exists deeply in the elephant heart. The brilliance of animal minds continues in the chatter of feathers. Parrots, especially African gray parrots, display a linguistic understanding once thought impossible for non-humans. Through years of study, individuals have shown that they can recognize colors, shapes, and numbers. They understand requests and questions even when phrased in new ways, proving they grasp meaning rather than memorized sounds. One famous parrot named Alex astonished researchers by combining known words to describe new objects, like calling an apple a bannery, for its similarity to a banana and cherry. Such creativity demonstrates conceptual reasoning, the mental ability to relate ideas and symbols. Parrots can use words to express preferences, ask for food, or refuse something they dislike, showing awareness and individuality in every response. Their speech is not mimicry, it is communication, a bridge between instinct and intellect. Within their bright plumage hides an articulate mind capable of turning sound into meaning, a voice from the wild that echoes the human capacity for thought. And in smaller, humbler creatures, joy itself finds expression. When researchers discovered that rats laugh when tickled, it rewrote what we thought we knew about pleasure in animals. When touched playfully by a familiar hand, rats emit high-frequency chirps inaudible to humans, but unmistakably linked to happiness. They chase the hand, leap, and engage in joyful play, much like puppies or monkeys. When frightened, the laughter vanishes, showing that it is tied to emotion, not reflex. Inside their brains, the same reward circuits that generate pleasure in humans light up, suggesting that joy is a universal experience shared across mammalian life. The laughter of a rat may be too high for our ears, but it resonates in spirit as proof that delight, trust, and affection thrive even in the smallest hearts. Meanwhile, beneath the waves once more, some fish reveal an unexpected ingenuity: tool use. Certain reef fish have been observed capturing clams or crustaceans, carrying them to carefully chosen rocks, and smashing them repeatedly until the shells break open. These anvil sites are reused again and again, showing planning and memory. The fish must understand cause and effect, that striking the shell in the right way produces food. Tool use was once thought exclusive to primates and a few birds, but nature has proven otherwise. In these small acts of creativity, we glimpse the evolutionary roots of problem-solving itself, the spark of awareness that links every living creature striving to survive and understand its world. Across all these examples, a quiet truth emerges: the line dividing human and animal intelligence is not a wall but a thread, woven through shared emotion, memory, and perception. The more closely we look, the more the distinctions blur. A dog feels our fear before we speak it. An octopus dreams in color. A dolphin calls the name of a friend across miles of water. A crow remembers our face years later. An elephant mourns its dead. A parrot talks not just to mimic but to connect. A rat laughs for joy. A fish wields a tool to eat. Each of these acts reflects not just survival, but awareness, a knowing shaped by the same universe of thought that birthed our own. When we look into the eyes of another creature, perhaps we are not looking down the ladder of evolution but across a vast sea of consciousness, seeing reflections of ourselves in other forms. The world hums with hidden minds, each tuned to its own sense of meaning, each dreaming in its own way. To learn about them is to awaken to the shared intelligence of life, a reminder that we are not alone in feeling, remembering, and imagining. So as you rest tonight, let that thought drift through you, that the earth beneath your pillow breathes with countless dreams, that every rustle, ripple, and whisper may belong to a mind awake or asleep, living its story in the same starlit silence as you. Manipulating an object to achieve a goal fits the scientific definition of tool use, and when fish use coral rocks or shells to crack open hard prey, they demonstrate a level of foresight and adaptability that defies our old assumptions about instinct-driven creatures. To plan such actions, these fish must visualize the outcome, apply consistent force, and adjust their strategy when a tool slips or the prey resists. This requires not only sensory coordination but also the ability to modify learned behavior, hallmarks of intelligence. For animals long dismissed as simple or automatic, these acts reveal surprising mental flexibility. Intelligence, it seems, does not depend on the size of a brain, but rather on the capacity to learn, adapt, and solve problems when faced with challenge. Even in the silent depths of the ocean, where life contends with pressure and darkness, ingenuity blooms wherever curiosity meets resistance, reminding us that awareness is not confined to air-breathing creatures but thrives in every environment where problem and persistence coexist. Ravens, among the most intelligent of birds, illustrate another layer of this cognitive spectrum, the ability to plan for the future. In experiments, ravens were given tools that could later be exchanged for food. Hours passed before the opportunity arose, yet they held on to the correct item, ignoring distractions and temptations, saving it for the right moment. Such foresight demands more than memory. It requires imagination, the power to envision a future scenario and prepare for it. These birds also deceive their rivals, pretending to hide food in one spot while secretly caching it elsewhere once unobserved. To perform this trick, a raven must grasp that another mind has its own perspective, a concept known as theory of mind. The planning and deceptive skills of ravens rival those of primates, suggesting that a sense of the future, and the ability to act with purpose toward it, is not a uniquely human quality, but a universal solution nature has evolved for survival. Intelligence, in this light, becomes a reflection of time awareness itself, the capacity to remember the past, act in the present, and anticipate what has yet to come. Among our closest relatives, chimpanzees display the deep roots of cultural tradition. In their forest homes, knowledge passes from one generation to the next through demonstration and imitation. Adults use stones to crack nuts, sticks to fish for termites, and leaves as tools for collecting honey. Young chimpanzees watch, learn, and practice for years before mastering these skills. What's remarkable is that these methods differ from group to group. One community favors certain stone shapes, another prefers particular plants, resulting in distinct regional cultures, each a living record of shared history and environment. This learning is not instinctive, it's intentional, shaped by observation, correction, and repetition. To teach requires patience and empathy, awareness of another's struggle and progress. Through this passing of knowledge, chimpanzee societies become more than mere gatherings. They become living libraries, where each gesture, sound, and technique preserves the wisdom of generations. Within the forest canopy, the story of intelligence is not written in words, but in the quiet echo of shared experience, hand to hand, mind to mind. Even the smallest of creatures hold their own forms of abstract thought. Bees, long admired for their navigation and cooperation, have shown the ability to comprehend one of the most difficult human concepts, zero. In experiments, they were trained to associate certain images with numerical values. When presented with a blank image containing no symbols, they consistently treated it as representing a quantity less than 1, proving they grasped the concept of none. To understand zero, the brain must form a placeholder for absence, a sophisticated abstraction that eluded human civilizations for millennia. Bees accomplish this with fewer than 1 million neurons, relying on efficient neural coding to process information. Their tiny minds manage complex reasoning, showing that intelligence can emerge wherever necessity meets organization. Within the hum of the hive lies not just instinct, but computation, a mathematical rhythm that shapes how these insects navigate, communicate, and adapt. The discovery suggests that cognition, in its many forms, evolves not from complexity alone but from the efficiency of problem-solving that life demands. Far from the fields of flowers, in the vast blue depths, orcas, also known as killer whales, display some of the most sophisticated cultural behaviors in the animal kingdom. Each pod, or family group, passes hunting techniques down through generations, teaching their young by demonstration and repetition. Some orcas herd schools of fish into tight spheres before feeding, while others risk beaching themselves on shorelines to catch seals, an advanced skill that requires practice and precision. These behaviors are not innate, they're taught. Older pod members act as mentors, guiding the young and ensuring the continuity of their traditions. Over time, this knowledge shapes distinct subcultures within the species, marked by unique vocal dialects, dietary preferences, and social rituals. Orcas remember, cooperate, and innovate together, creating societies that echo human traditions of teaching and storytelling. In the ocean's endless expanse, they form a civilization of memory and method, proof that culture is not limited to land, language, or opposable thumbs, but is a living thread connecting generations through sound, motion, and shared experience. In the skies above cities, pigeons, often dismissed as ordinary, display visual intelligence and conceptual reasoning of surprising depth. In studies where they were shown paintings by artists like Monet and Picasso, pigeons learned to distinguish between styles, pecking only at the works of one artist even when new paintings were introduced. They weren't memorizing images. They were recognizing abstract qualities like color balance, brushstroke, and composition. Such conceptual categorization is rare beyond mammals and demonstrates that these birds perceive the world with acute visual awareness. Beyond art, pigeons can also recognize letters, human faces, and even emotional expressions. Their brains process images with extraordinary speed, allowing them to navigate cities, identify landmarks, and respond to human cues. What began as a simple experiment in art appreciation became a window into the hidden sophistication of avian thought, proving that perception and cognition flourish even in the most familiar creatures around us. The next time a pigeon tilts its head to study you from a ledge, consider that it may be quietly analyzing details far beyond what you expect. Deep underground, in the intricate tunnels of ant colonies, learning unfolds through one of the purest forms of teaching on Earth. When a seasoned forager finds food, she often leads a younger companion along the path back to it. The two move in rhythm, stop, go, pause, while the student taps the teacher with her antennae to signal readiness. This delicate coordination, known as tandem running, is more than instinct. It represents communication, awareness, and mutual adjustment. The teacher slows her pace to allow learning. The learner responds actively, maintaining contact. The exchange costs time and energy, yet benefits the colony as a whole by spreading knowledge efficiently. In this way, ants exhibit the foundations of teaching: intention, patience, and recognition of another's perspective. Their success depends not only on hierarchy and instinct, but on cooperation encoded in gesture and touch. Even in the smallest brains, nature finds ways to transmit experience, proving that intelligence is not measured by scale but by the richness of connection. Elephants, giants of empathy, have shown one of the most profound markers of consciousness: self-recognition. When presented with mirrors, elephants do not mistake their reflections for other animals. Instead, they explore the image with curiosity, using their trunks to inspect parts of their bodies that would otherwise be invisible. In classic experiments, researchers placed a visible mark on the elephant's skin, one that could only be seen in the reflection. The animals, recognizing the mark on themselves, touched it deliberately, clear evidence that they understood the mirror showed their own bodies. This test, once thought to distinguish humans and great apes, has now included elephants as members of the self-aware. Their mirror behavior aligns with what we observe in their social lives: empathy, cooperation, and mourning, all signs of an internal model of the self and others. In their reflection, we see a consciousness capable of introspection, proof that awareness, like emotion, transcends species. Even more astonishingly, a small tropical fish known as the cleaner wrasse has also passed the mirror test, challenging long-held beliefs about the limits of animal cognition. At first, the fish reacted to its reflection as if confronting a rival, but soon began examining its own image carefully. When researchers marked the fish's body with a visible spot, the wrasse attempted to remove it by scraping against nearby rocks, never attacking the mirror again. This suggests it recognized the image as itself, a revelation that forced scientists to reconsider the boundaries of self-awareness. If such understanding can arise in a fish, it means consciousness may not depend on complexity alone but can emerge in simpler nervous systems through evolution's countless experiments. In coral reefs bursting with color and life, the wrasse reminds us that self-perception may exist in forms far beyond what we once imagined, shimmering quietly beneath the waves. On land, horses demonstrate another dimension of memory and recognition. They remember the humans who have treated them with kindness or cruelty, even after long periods apart. Through sight, sound, and scent, they distinguish familiar individuals and recall the emotions once attached to them. When encountering someone who has spoken softly or cared for them gently, horses show relaxed posture, slower breathing, and calm eyes. When facing those associated with stress or harshness, they become tense and wary. Their memories endure for years, entwining emotion with recognition in ways strikingly human. In this emotional intelligence, horses bridge the divide between species, responding not only to our actions but to the feelings behind them. Across all these stories, from the depths of the sea to the clouds above the earth, runs a unifying truth: intelligence is not a ladder with humans at its peak, but a web of countless minds, each shaped by the needs of survival, the spark of curiosity, and the rhythm of connection. From fish that plan strikes against shells, to ravens saving tools for future use, to chimpanzees passing on knowledge, to bees understanding absence itself, to orcas teaching their young, to pigeons interpreting art, to ants mentoring through touch, to elephants recognizing their own reflections, and even to fish aware of their own existence, each reveals a glimpse of cognition's boundless reach. The story of life is, in part, the story of thought evolving in endless forms, from the simplest neuron to the most reflective mind. And as we learn more about these silent companions on our planet, we are invited to see them not as lower beings, but as fellow travelers in the long dream of awareness, each mind a different verse in the same song of consciousness that hums softly through the living world. On land, horses demonstrate another dimension of memory and recognition. They remember the humans who have treated them with kindness or cruelty, even after long periods apart. Through sight, sound, and scent, they distinguish familiar individuals and recall the emotions once attached to them. When encountering someone who has spoken softly or cared for them gently, horses show relaxed posture, slower breathing, and calm eyes. When facing those associated with stress or harshness, they become tense and wary. Their memories endure for years, entwining emotion with recognition in ways strikingly human. In this emotional intelligence, horses bridge the divide between species, responding not only to our actions but to the feelings behind them. Across all these stories, from the depths of the sea to the clouds above the earth, runs a unifying truth: intelligence is not a ladder with humans at its peak, but a web of countless minds, each shaped by the needs of survival, the spark of curiosity, and the rhythm of connection. From fish that plan strikes against shells, to ravens saving tools for future use, to chimpanzees passing on knowledge, to bees understanding absence itself, to orcas teaching their young, to pigeons interpreting art, to ants mentoring through touch, to elephants recognizing their own reflections, and even to fish aware of their own existence, each reveals a glimpse of cognition's boundless reach. The story of life is, in part, the story of thought evolving in endless forms, from the simplest neuron to the most reflective mind. And as we learn more about these silent companions on our planet, we are invited to see them not as lower beings, but as fellow travelers in the long dream of awareness, each mind a different verse in the same song of consciousness that hums softly through the living world. Ravens trade objects for rewards like currency. In studies exploring problem solving, ravens were given the opportunity to exchange tokens for treats, and they quickly learned to associate the objects with value. Some even stored their tokens for later use, showing an understanding of delayed gratification and economic-like thinking. This behavior mirrors early human trade systems and reveals a grasp of abstract representation, a sign of advanced cognition. Much like young children learning the concept of money, ravens demonstrated planning, memory, and an ability to judge worth. Their skill in exchanging and saving suggests that intelligence is not only about immediate problem solving but also about anticipating future gain. The world of animal minds is vast, filled with remarkable examples of awareness, strategy, and emotional understanding that challenge our narrow definitions of intelligence. From horses who remember kindness to dolphins who teach their calves cultural skills, from bees that grasp the concept of zero to wolves who plan hunts with silent precision, life continually proves that thought takes many forms. Each discovery reveals that the roots of intelligence are ancient and widespread, embedded deep within the tree of life. Consider the horses who recall human faces and voices after months apart, their hearts quickening at memories of harshness and calming at the sound of care. Such emotional memory is not mere instinct but a bridge of trust built from experience. It proves that compassion and recognition shape bonds that cross species. Then there are the clever birds who feign food storage to deceive watching rivals, displaying a clear understanding of others' minds, a quality once thought to belong only to humans. Their trickery becomes a testament to awareness of perception itself, where thought meets imagination in a single subtle act of misdirection. Beneath the waves, dolphins carry sponges on their snouts to shield them from sharp corals, a behavior passed down like a craft through generations. Mothers teach their young how to select and use the right sponge, showing both patience and cultural continuity. The ocean itself becomes a classroom where wisdom flows as freely as the tide. In the kelp forests, sea otters cradle their favorite stones, personal tools shaped by habit and choice. Each stone carries the memory of meals cracked open across years of use. This quiet ritual reflects persistence, preference, and a sense of identity, as though every otter stone were a signature of its intelligence. The forest canopy tells its own story through the voices of gibbons who sing duets at dawn. Their harmonized songs echo through the trees like love letters written in sound, tightening the invisible thread that binds mates together. As their coordination improves, so does their bond, proving that communication can nurture not just survival but emotional unity. Prairie dogs in the grasslands share their own intricate language, rich with meaning. Their calls can describe predators in detail, the difference between a coyote, a hawk, or a human in a red shirt. This complexity rivals the structure of human speech and shows that even small mammals possess linguistic precision when their lives depend on it. In the rainforests, orangutans show quiet creativity as they fashion umbrellas from leaves, shielding themselves from the downpour. Their actions demonstrate planning and cultural learning passed from one generation to the next, a clear sign that intelligence can thrive in the stillness of the canopy. Across frozen plains, wolves move as one, each step calculated, each glance understood. Their hunts unfold like wordless choreography, the result of trust and memory built through years of cooperation. Strategy here is not commanded but shared, proving that unity itself can be a form of intelligence. Elephants, too, understand the power of togetherness. When faced with challenges, they wait for one another, synchronizing their efforts without instruction. Their empathy extends beyond teamwork to emotional depth. They mourn their dead, comfort distressed companions, and protect the young as a family. In their gentle cooperation lies wisdom refined through centuries of survival. And in the skies, ravens barter, plan, and imagine, trading shiny trinkets for rewards and saving them for later. Their ability to think symbolically, to assign value, and to delay gratification suggests that they share more with humans than once believed. This mosaic of cognition across species reshapes our view of the animal kingdom. Intelligence, we now see, is not a singular gift but a spectrum, expressed through song, strategy, memory, and empathy. The capacity to think, plan, and feel runs like a hidden current through every form of life, from the smallest insect to the mightiest mammal. Bees, with their tiny brains, perceive numbers and understand zero, while elephants comprehend self-recognition and teamwork. Dolphins craft tools, otters invent personal methods, wolves strategize silently, and birds deceive with purpose. Each act whispers the same truth: awareness blooms wherever life takes root. These behaviors remind us that consciousness is not bound by size or species but by need and opportunity. Evolution has sculpted minds that fit their worlds perfectly, each shaped by its own challenges. The prairie dog's call, the gibbon's duet, the dolphin's lesson, and the raven's trade are all reflections of a universal drive to adapt, to learn, to connect. Through study and observation, we come closer to seeing that thought itself is nature's way of reaching toward understanding. Every creature in its own way solves problems, feels emotions, and builds relationships. The horse remembers kindness. The ant teaches through touch. The raven plans for tomorrow. And in all of them, there flickers a spark of the same curiosity that drives us. It is a shared heritage of mind, a living testament that intelligence is not an invention of humankind, but a continuum that stretches across the living world, written in flight, song, motion, and memory. Elephants return to the bones of their dead, touching them gently with their trunks and gestures that seem to carry both curiosity and grief. This ritual behavior, observed across many herds, suggests a memory that extends beyond individual experience, a recognition of life, loss, and continuity. They pause over skulls and tusks, sometimes carrying bones or standing silently for long periods, as if paying respect. Such acts point toward a consciousness that contemplates existence itself. Across the natural world, intelligence manifests not through size or speech but through creativity, empathy, and awareness, weaving a shared narrative among all living beings. Ravens, for instance, have learned to trade objects such as bottle caps or tokens for food, understanding that these symbols hold value. Some even save tokens for later, preferring future rewards over immediate satisfaction. This delayed gratification mirrors human concepts of economy and planning. Their barter-like behavior reveals abstract reasoning, assigning worth to neutral items and manipulating them within a social context. Similarly, certain parrots invent entirely new words when confronted with unfamiliar things, combining known sounds to form fresh expressions, like calling an apple a banana berry. This blending of meaning shows flexible logic and imagination, turning communication into art. Dolphins, ever the poets of the sea, use signature whistles as names, calling across vast blue distances to reunite with loved ones. Even after years apart, they respond to the unique call of another, proving memory and identity persist through sound. Each whistle, a syllable of belonging, keeps their society stitched together in the shifting ocean. Scrub jays, small and sharp-minded, display remarkable foresight when hiding food. They remember exactly who was watching, and if a potential thief was nearby, they return to secretly move their stash later. Those that have stolen before are most cautious, as if projecting their own intentions onto others, a glimpse into theory of mind and the capacity to imagine different perspectives. Bees, though tiny, astonish scientists by recognizing human faces. With brains smaller than a grain of sand, they process patterns and spacing to distinguish one person from another. Their ability to remember faces, even under different lighting, proves that complex recognition does not demand a large brain, only an efficient one. Bonobos, our gentle cousins in the forests of the Congo, demonstrate emotional intelligence that rivals humanity's own. When tensions rise, they use eye contact, not dominance, to mend social rifts. A mutual gaze restores peace, lowers stress, and rekindles trust. Their calm negotiations teach that empathy can be the strongest form of wisdom. In the same spirit of compassion, dolphins are known to support injured companions, swimming beside them for hours to keep them afloat. They coordinate their movements so the weak can breathe, taking turns to prevent exhaustion. This act of care extends even to other species, including humans, showing that morality may have deeper biological roots than we once believed. In the cities we build, crows thrive as partners in adaptation. They drop nuts onto busy roads, using cars as tools to crack them open. Then, waiting patiently for red lights, they descend to feast safely before the next rush of traffic. This timing shows awareness of human behavior, a cognitive map of urban life. Young crows learn by watching, inheriting wisdom shaped by engines and asphalt. Even spiders, those patient architects of the unseen, reveal cognition through their art. Their webs, normally precise and symmetrical, warp when their minds are altered by substances such as caffeine or sedatives. A web's geometry becomes a window into their neural rhythm, each thread a reflection of balance and focus. The smallest tremor in chemistry reshapes their design, exposing the delicate interplay between brain and behavior. Elephants, ever thoughtful, display not only intelligence but a deep reverence for the past. When they revisit the bones of their kind, their touches seem both inquisitive and mournful, suggesting a form of remembrance that transcends instinct. Together, these stories reveal that intelligence flows through the living world in countless forms: abstract, emotional, strategic, and moral. It is in the raven's trade, the parrot's word, the bee's recognition, the dolphin's name, the wolf's hunt, and the elephant's mourning. Thought is not a human monopoly. It is a language spoken in many dialects across nature's great chorus. Every species, from insect to ape, has evolved to solve its own puzzles, feel its own joys, and remember its own histories. The ravens that save tokens for future meals are practicing a kind of economy. The parrots inventing new words are poets of their world. Dolphins with signature calls hold conversations as intricate as our own social networks. Scrub jays, cautious and cunning, plan for unseen rivals. Bees, in their hum of order, model efficient recognition that inspires our machines. Bonobos teach that peace can be built on understanding, not fear. Crows teach patience and timing through collaboration with traffic lights, and even spiders, small, silent, and intricate, become teachers of focus, showing that structure begins in the mind. Elephants close this great circle of awareness with their rituals of remembrance, holding space for those who have passed as if acknowledging the continuity of life. Across every corner of the earth, life thinks. It plans, dreams, remembers, communicates, and grieves. Intelligence is not a ladder with humans at the top, but a web, diverse, connected, and infinite. In its many expressions, it binds the living world together in threads of purpose, curiosity, and care, each act of awareness adding another note to the song of understanding that has been evolving for millions of years beneath the same sun and sky. In the savannas and forests where elephants roam, memory is a living force that binds generations through the invisible threads of remembrance. Years after a herd member dies, elephants return to the place of passing, touching the bones with their trunks and feet, pausing in deep silence as if reflecting on the life that once moved within those remains. They ignore the skeletons of other species, focusing only on their own kind, demonstrating recognition that extends beyond mere curiosity. Calves observe and learn the solemn ritual from adults, transforming grief into tradition and ensuring that the emotional wisdom of the herd persists across time. Some elephants revisit the same bones years later, showing extraordinary spatial and emotional memory, suggesting a shared understanding that the dead are still part of their social fabric. These acts of reverence blur the line between instinct and empathy, revealing a form of mourning that carries both tenderness and intelligence, as though elephants hold a map of relationships within their minds that death cannot erase. In the vast oceans, whales echo this sense of connection through haunting songs that drift for hundreds of kilometers beneath the waves. Each pod sings in a distinct dialect shaped by geography, ancestry, and time, functioning like a musical fingerprint that allows members to recognize one another across distances. These songs evolve as generations pass, with new melodies weaving into old ones like an ever-changing oral tradition. When pods meet, their songs may merge, creating symphonies of shared experience that reflect cultural exchange in the deep. Young whales learn by listening and repeating, preserving the acoustic heritage of their kind. Scientists have found that whale songs possess structural complexity akin to language, with patterns and grammar-like repetition. These sounds not only carry communication but also history, linking families through vibrations that travel farther than sight could ever reach, turning the ocean into a memory of music. Beneath the shimmering surface of coral reefs, fish too demonstrate surprising intelligence. Guppies, angelfish, and zebrafish can distinguish between small numbers, consistently choosing to join larger groups for safety. This simple numerical awareness, known as subitizing, helps them avoid predators and survive. When presented with dots or shapes, they instinctively recognize larger quantities, revealing that mathematical intuition predates the human mind. It is an ancient rhythm of life, a biological arithmetic woven into the movement of fins and the shimmer of schools. Each choice of fish speaks to an evolutionary understanding that balance and numbers guide survival and the silent geometry of the sea. On land, dogs have evolved alongside humans for thousands of years, learning not only to hear our words but to understand them with remarkable precision. Many dogs can recognize hundreds of words and gestures, interpreting verbal commands, emotional tones, and body language. Their brains process language in ways strikingly similar to ours, words in one hemisphere, emotion in the other, making them partners in communication rather than passive listeners. Experiments show they can identify named objects from a group, follow complex instructions, and even sense the emotional intent behind speech. Beyond vocabulary, dogs respond to human gestures like pointing or gaze direction, displaying a social intelligence built on empathy and shared understanding. This deep interspecies bond transforms sound into meaning, meaning into trust, and trust into companionship. Through this connection, human and dog minds merge into a cooperative consciousness, where thought moves silently between species without the need for words. Similarly, our closest relatives in the animal kingdom, chimpanzees, gorillas, and bonobos, have learned to bridge the gap of communication through sign language. Over decades, researchers have taught apes hundreds of signs, allowing them to express emotions, desires, and observations with surprising clarity. Some apes combine signs creatively to describe new things, proving that they understand the meaning behind symbols rather than merely mimicking gestures. One gorilla famously used signs to describe sadness and love, revealing a heart and mind capable of deep introspection. Through these exchanges, apes show patience, logic, and imagination, blurring the boundary between human and animal language. Each signed conversation becomes a dialogue between two worlds, shaped by evolution yet connected by the shared longing to be understood. Their ability to communicate demonstrates that intelligence is not measured by species but by the capacity to connect, reason, and feel. Even amongst smaller creatures, the architecture of intelligence unfolds in astonishing ways. Within the dark chambers of a hive, bees communicate through intricate dances. A forager returning from the fields performs the waggle dance, circling, vibrating, and angling her body to encode precise information about the distance, direction, and quality of nectar sources relative to the sun. Other bees watch, interpret, and fly toward the exact location, guided only by the choreography of motion. The dance adjusts throughout the day as the sun shifts, revealing a complex internal clock and spatial awareness. This living code of movement transforms a swarm into a thinking organism where knowledge flows like energy, binding thousands into harmony. The waggle dance is not just a marvel of coordination, it is a testament to how cooperation and intelligence can thrive even within the smallest minds, proving that thought need not be large to be profound. Equally remarkable are rats, often dismissed as simple creatures, yet capable of empathy and altruism. In laboratory studies, rats have freed trapped companions even when no reward was offered, choosing compassion over self-interest. When given a choice between rescuing a friend and eating chocolate, many chose to help first, displaying emotional awareness that mirrors human kindness. Their behavior intensifies when bonds already exist, suggesting that empathy grows through familiarity. Rats even become visibly distressed when another suffers and calmer when others are safe, indicating an internal reflection of another's state, a biological foundation for compassion. This emotional intelligence proves that care is not limited to primates, but is a universal thread that weaves through all social life, showing that to feel for another may be one of evolution's most powerful adaptations. In the depths of the ocean, the octopus, a creature of soft form and quick mind, crafts tools and shelters from the debris of the sea. Some octopuses gather discarded coconut shells, carrying them across the sand with deliberate effort to create portable homes. They fit the shells together for protection, demonstrating foresight, planning, and an understanding of future needs. These behaviors, rare among invertebrates, mark a level of intelligence that transcends body type or brain size. Octopuses remember specific shells, reuse them, and show preference, hinting at individuality and personality. Each movement of their tentacles reveals calculation and creativity, as though their alien minds weave problem-solving into art. Their ingenuity challenges our notions of consciousness, proving that intelligence can take infinite forms, from the silent cooperation of bees to the emotional loyalty of dogs, the morning rituals of elephants, the songs of whales, and the reasoned planning of an octopus. Together, these examples form a grand tapestry of thought across Earth's living beings, showing that the spark of understanding is not confined to humanity but scattered across species, glowing wherever life has learned to adapt, remember, and care. Whether whispered through water, danced in darkness, signed with fingers, or spoken in gentle barks, intelligence reveals itself as a universal language, the endless conversation between life and existence itself. The dance adjusts throughout the day as the sun shifts, revealing a complex internal clock and spatial awareness. This living code of movement transforms a swarm into a thinking organism where knowledge flows like energy, binding thousands into harmony. The waggle dance is not just a marvel of coordination, it is a testament to how cooperation and intelligence can thrive even within the smallest minds, proving that thought need not be large to be profound. Equally remarkable are rats, often dismissed as simple creatures, yet capable of empathy and altruism. In laboratory studies, rats have freed trapped companions even when no reward was offered, choosing compassion over self-interest. When given a choice between rescuing a friend and eating chocolate, many chose to help first, displaying emotional awareness that mirrors human kindness. Their behavior intensifies when bonds already exist, suggesting that empathy grows through familiarity. Rats even become visibly distressed when another suffers and calmer when others are safe, indicating an internal reflection of another's state, a biological foundation for compassion. This emotional intelligence proves that care is not limited to primates, but is a universal thread that weaves through all social life, showing that to feel for another may be one of evolution's most powerful adaptations. In the depths of the ocean, the octopus, a creature of soft form and quick mind, crafts tools and shelters from the debris of the sea. Some octopuses gather discarded coconut shells, carrying them across the sand with deliberate effort to create portable homes. They fit the shells together for protection, demonstrating foresight, planning, and an understanding of future needs. These behaviors, rare among invertebrates, mark a level of intelligence that transcends body type or brain size. Octopuses remember specific shells, reuse them, and show preference, hinting at individuality and personality. Each movement of their tentacles reveals calculation and creativity, as though their alien minds weave problem-solving into art. Their ingenuity challenges our notions of consciousness, proving that intelligence can take infinite forms, from the silent cooperation of bees to the emotional loyalty of dogs, the morning rituals of elephants, the the songs of whales, and the reasoned planning of an octopus. Together, these examples form a grand tapestry of thought across Earth's living beings, showing that the spark of understanding is not confined to humanity but scattered across species, glowing wherever life has learned to adapt, remember, and care. Whether whispered through water, danced in darkness, signed with fingers, or spoken in gentle barks, intelligence reveals itself as a universal language, the endless conversation between life and existence itself. The octopus, with its supple arms and alien grace, evaluates every texture, weight, and contour of the objects it encounters, manipulating its environment like a skilled craftsman shaping raw materials into purposeful design. Beneath the waves, it turns discarded fragments of human waste into shelters of security, transforming debris into symbols of foresight and adaptability. Each movement of its limbs reveals problem-solving woven with creativity, as though thought itself flows through every limb. On the seafloor, intelligence gleams quietly, measured not by words but by the silent artistry of survival. Magpies, too, reflect a spark of self-awareness once thought to belong only to humans and great apes. When they meet their reflection, what begins as confusion or aggression becomes curiosity, then recognition. They adjust feathers, explore markings, and examine parts of their bodies visible only in the mirror. In experiments, when scientists placed colored dots on their feathers, the birds tried to remove them, clear evidence that they recognized themselves. This revelation astonished researchers, as it proved that consciousness can arise through different neurological designs. The magpie, a creature of the sky, looks into a mirror and sees not another bird, but itself, a being aware of its own existence. Such moments remind us that awareness flickers across nature in unexpected forms, wherever intelligence turns inward to perceive the self. In the oceans, dolphins exhibit a different kind of brilliance, one grounded in teamwork and acoustic communication. When hunting, they gather around shimmering schools of fish and drive them into tight formations called bait balls. Some blow spirals of bubbles to corral the prey while others dart through to feed, their timing perfectly synchronized through bursts of sound that coordinate every motion. This choreography of movement reveals collective intelligence, a dance of strategy honed through generations. In some coastal regions, dolphins even collaborate with human fishermen, signaling when to cast nets, sharing the bounty in return. These interspecies alliances, passed from dolphin to dolphin, echo the concept of cultural inheritance. Beneath the surface, they embody cooperation so refined that it borders on art, an aquatic symphony of timing, trust, and purpose. On land, chimpanzees show a different kind of intelligence rooted in the depth of memory. Decades after parting, they still recognize the faces of companions. In controlled experiments, chimps identified individuals they had not seen for over 20 years, displaying calm recognition rather than surprise. Their eyes lingered longer on the familiar, showing that memory in their world is not mere record-keeping but an emotional bridge. These memories help maintain alliances, recall old conflicts, and sustain social balance within their ever-changing communities. Each remembered face carries stories of trust, rivalry, affection, and shared survival, stored deep within the architecture of their minds. Such long-term recall mirrors the continuity of human friendship, proving that memory and emotion intertwine across species, shaping social worlds beyond our own. Ravens, meanwhile, reveal minds of cunning and foresight. They collect tools, sticks, stones, and bits of wire, storing them for future use, each hidden in secret caches they later revisit. They remember not only where the tools are hidden but also which is suited for which task. When other ravens are near, they hide their work, even pretending to stash objects elsewhere to deceive potential thieves. This behavior displays planning, understanding of cause and effect, and awareness of others' perspectives, traits once considered uniquely human. In their quiet strategies lie the early principles of invention, anticipation, patience, and imagination. Through their hidden treasures, ravens show that intelligence does not simply react to the present, it prepares for the unseen future. Dogs, our longtime companions, express emotional complexity in ways that touch the human heart. When owners show affection to another pet, or even a stuffed animal, dogs often nudge, bark, or push between them, displaying behaviors strikingly similar to jealousy. Controlled studies confirm that this response arises not from confusion, but from emotional comparison. Brain scans show that the same neural centers that activate human jealousy also light up in dogs. This ancient emotion helps preserve bonds and maintain loyalty, anchoring relationships that have evolved over millennia. The jealous glance of a dog, far from being petty, is a reflection of its awareness of affection and the need to belong, a universal yearning for connection shared by all social beings. In miniature worlds, ants demonstrate how intelligence can emerge from unity rather than individuality. Within their colonies, thousands of ants work as one organism, digging tunnels, cultivating fungi, and defending the nest with seamless coordination. No single ant leads. Instead, pheromone signals act as invisible communication lines, guiding behavior and adapting to change. When danger or opportunity arises, the colony responds instantly, redistributing labor in a display of collective reasoning. Scientists studying this system have modeled computer algorithms and robotic networks after their efficiency, revealing that complexity can arise from simple rules multiplied across many minds. An ant colony is a living proof that intelligence can be distributed, a networked consciousness in which awareness is not centralized but shared, a chorus of many acting as one. Horses, too, have found ways to bridge the gap between human and animal understanding. In experiments, they learn to use symbols on visual boards to express preferences, choosing whether they wanted a blanket, wished it removed, or preferred no change. Their decisions aligned with weather and comfort, showing thought rather than chance. These gentle gestures reveal that communication can emerge from mutual learning rather than dominance, built on attention and trust. The horse observes the human's focus, anticipates reaction, and responds accordingly, turning simple symbols into dialogue. This mutual exchange challenges the limits of nonverbal communication, reminding us that true intelligence often whispers in subtle, shared understanding. In the deep, whales carry the heritage of their kind through song. Each pod maintains its own evolving melody, a pattern of calls that shifts slightly over decades, preserving echoes of the past while absorbing new elements from contact with others. These songs act as cultural maps, tracing migrations, lineages, and histories across oceans. Scientists can identify familial ties and ancestral routes simply by analyzing tonal changes over time. Like oral histories sung by ancient human tribes, whale songs document identity and belonging in sound. Each phrase tells of mothers, journeys, and survival, voices of ancestors resonating through the deep. Their music is not random noise but organized emotion, a grammar of the sea shaped by memory and experience. Beneath the waves, they sing the story of their world, carrying generations within the current of song. Even the enigmatic cuttlefish, a creature of ink and camouflage, demonstrates remarkable cognitive restraint. In experiments modeled after the human marshmallow tests, cuttlefish were offered 2 meals, one available immediately and a better one if they waited. Cuttlefish have shown remarkable self-control in experiments that test delayed gratification. When offered a preferred piece of food immediately and a more favored shrimp that would only be available after waiting, many resisted the first temptation and waited for the better reward. Some even turned away from the immediate offering, as though avoiding distraction, waiting patiently for over 2 minutes, a considerable span for such small creatures. This behavior demonstrates the ability to connect present restraint with future gain, an advanced cognitive skill once thought to belong only to higher animals. Their brains, though structured very differently from ours, contain intricate lobes that support learning and memory. These studies suggest they can evaluate outcomes, imagine alternatives, and make intentional choices. Deep beneath the waves, their intelligence quietly redefines what it means to plan, decide, and wait for something better. Gorillas, too, display emotional and social intelligence through humor. Within their family groups, they often engage in playful teasing, sneaking up to startle others, stealing objects, or performing false gestures before retreating with what appears to be amusement. They glance back at their companions to gauge reactions and repeat the act when it elicits laughter-like responses. This behavior strengthens social bonds and builds trust, turning play into a language of affection. The capacity for humor requires awareness of expectation and the ability to subvert it intentionally. By understanding social rules well enough to bend them for fun, gorillas reveal empathy and insight, showing that laughter and joy are deeply woven into the emotional fabric of intelligent life. In coastal communities of Brazil and Myanmar, dolphins and humans have developed a remarkable partnership in fishing that has endured for generations. Dolphins herd schools of fish toward the shoreline, driving them into tight clusters. At just the right moment, they signal the fishermen by slapping their tails or leaping from the water. The humans then cast their nets, catching part of the school while the dolphins feast on the rest. Both sides benefit, each trusting the timing and signals of the other. Young dolphins learn by watching older members, just as young fishermen learn from their elders. This interspecies cooperation reflects not instinct but culture, knowledge passed down through teaching and shared understanding. It stands as one of the most profound examples of mutual trust and communication between humans and another intelligent species. African gray parrots, among the most intelligent of birds, understand abstract concepts like size, shape, and difference. In experiments, they accurately identified which object was larger, smaller, or rounder, even when presented with unfamiliar items. Some could vocalize their observations using learned words, demonstrating comprehension rather than imitation. Their cognitive abilities include symbolic reasoning, the foundation of logic and mathematics. They apply learned principles to new situations, showing flexible, conceptual thinking comparable to that of a young human child. Within their small skulls lies a mind capable of connecting vision, sound, and memory into a unified awareness, a deep understanding of relationships and patterns in the world around them. Sea lions, too, demonstrate reasoning once believed to be uniquely human. In laboratory tests, they learn to identify relationships between symbols and infer new connections, a process called transitive inference. For example, if one symbol was linked to another, they could recognize the same pattern in new combinations, understanding the abstract rule rather than memorizing the example. This logical reasoning shows that they grasp equivalence and relation, core elements of intelligent thought. Their ability to generalize and apply knowledge mirrors the flexibility seen in primates, proving that reasoning can evolve across vastly different species. In the ocean, this mental agility helps them navigate complex environments and social structures, balancing instinct with intellect. Cats, our closest domestic companions, have developed an extraordinary form of communication through their purring. While purring often signals comfort, cats can subtly modify its pitch to produce a faint, high-frequency element that resembles a human infant's cry. This special version, known as the solicitation purr, instinctively triggers nurturing responses in humans. Studies show people react more quickly and positively to these modified purrs than to ordinary ones. Over thousands of years of companionship, cats have evolved to manipulate human emotions through sound, turning purring into both expression and influence. It reflects a deep interspecies coevolution, where emotional understanding bridges the gap between two very different minds. Even tiny creatures like spiders display precision and spatial intelligence. When parts of their webs are damaged, they rebuild them with remarkable accuracy, as if guided by a mental blueprint. Experiments reveal that spiders seem to count their steps, using movement to measure distances between anchor points, a kind of internal ruler built into their nervous system. When wind or environmental conditions shift, they adjust their designs accordingly. Even in total darkness, their webs maintain geometric perfection, proving that their construction depends on spatial memory and proprioception rather than vision. This organic mathematics, woven from instinct and motion, reveals the astonishing complexity hidden within even the smallest minds. Capuchin monkeys, known for their curiosity and cleverness, also exhibit a strong sense of fairness. In experiments where two monkeys performed the same task but received different rewards, the one given the lesser treat, such as cucumber instead of a grape, often refused to participate or angrily threw the food back. When the unfair treatment continued, their protests grew louder, showing emotional responses rooted in the perception of injustice. This sense of fairness helps maintain harmony within social groups by discouraging exploitation. When equality is restored, cooperation resumes smoothly. Their reactions are not abstract morality, but a practical form of empathy and balance, revealing that fairness and justice are ancient social tools evolved long before humans. Elephants, celebrated for their intelligence and memory, use tools not only for problem solving but for comfort. When faced with an itch or irritation in a place their trunks cannot reach, they break off branches or select sticks of just the right size, sometimes stripping leaves or adjusting the shape to make it more effective. This demonstrates both body awareness and planning, as they must visualize their own physical form and the necessary motion to relieve discomfort. Their deliberate selection and modification of tools reflect foresight and adaptability, traits deeply intertwined with self-awareness. Each of these examples, from cowfish practicing restraint to elephants using tools, reveals the diversity of intelligence that flows through life on Earth. In the silent patience of a cephalopod, the playful humor of a gorilla, the cooperative traditions of dolphins, the reasoning of sea lions, the cunning of cats, and the fairness of monkeys, we glimpse the same underlying spark, consciousness evolving through countless forms. Intelligence, it seems, is not a single summit reached by humankind alone but a vast landscape filled with countless peaks, each species mastering its own way of understanding the world. Across oceans, forests, and skies, life continually proves that thought, emotion, and awareness are not confined to one kind of brain but are woven throughout existence itself, in whispers of logic, empathy, and wonder. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check important info. Elephants demonstrate not only strength but profound intelligence, as seen in their tool use and problem-solving behaviors. When they break branches to swat flies or scratch unreachable places, their actions reflect deliberate thought and adaptability, qualities linked to higher cognition. Tool use of this kind reveals curiosity, planning, and a capacity for invention. Elephants approach each challenge with calm persistence, testing and refining their methods until success. What might seem like a simple act of scratching is, in truth, a glimpse into a mind capable of transforming its surroundings to meet personal needs. This inventive spirit extends to memory and social bonds, as shown in other species like dolphins, who recognize each other's voices even after decades apart. In the vast ocean where visibility fades, sound becomes the bridge between individuals. Dolphins develop unique signature whistles early in life, functioning much like names. Remarkably, they remember and identify these personal sounds years later. When recordings of long-separated companions are played underwater, dolphins respond instantly, calling back in recognition, while ignoring unfamiliar voices. This enduring memory reflects deep emotional and social intelligence, the kind that binds pods together across time and distance. Their communication holds identity, history, and affection, linking hearts through the vast silence of the sea. The continuity of friendship in their songs reveals an emotional depth rarely seen in the animal kingdom. Similarly, whales display behaviors that resemble grief. When a whale loses her calf, she often carries or supports the body for days, even weeks, gently lifting it toward the surface, refusing to let go. Companions often slow their travel, staying near, producing low, mournful calls. These acts are costly in energy but rich in meaning, suggesting awareness of loss and emotional attachment. Such tenderness implies a mental connection between presence and absence, an understanding that something once there is now gone. This quiet mourning, repeated across species and oceans, stands as wordless evidence of empathy as ancient as the sea itself. On land and in the sky, ravens also reveal the depth of animal intelligence. Known for their memory and reasoning, they remember past injustices and even hold grudges. When humans deceive or withhold rewards, ravens recognize those individuals later and avoid or retaliate against them, while cooperating with generous ones. They even learn by observing others, refusing to trust those who acted unfairly toward their peers. This kind of behavior demonstrates social reasoning and moral judgment, a sense of fairness and awareness of justice. Their grudges are not instinctive reactions but deliberate responses shaped by experience, proving that emotion and intellect coexist in these sharp minds. In their world, trust is earned and remembered, forming the foundation of their social systems. This moral awareness is echoed in wolves, who display fairness and cooperation in their packs. After a hunt, food is distributed according to contribution and rank, maintaining balance and unity. In experiments, wolves refused to continue cooperative tasks when rewards were unequal, showing visible frustration when treated unfairly. Once equality was restored, they resumed work together, proving that fairness is not a human invention but a natural instinct shared across intelligent species. Their understanding of equity preserves trust, strengthens bonds, and sustains the pack's survival. Fairness and loyalty are the invisible laws of their world, a moral code forged by evolution. In the deep sea, octopuses emerge as masters of problem-solving and memory. In laboratory settings, they navigate mazes, open jars, and solve puzzles with astounding precision. After only a few attempts, they remember the correct path or technique, demonstrating spatial awareness and long-term learning. Their distributed nervous systems, with most neurons in their arms, allow independent yet coordinated action. Each limb learns, experiments, and shares information with the central brain, creating a network of semi-autonomous intelligence. This unique biology produces an almost alien consciousness, a being that learns through touch, texture, and curiosity rather than language. Octopuses remember strategies for weeks and apply them creatively, revealing minds that blend logic with exploration. They embody intelligence in motion, graceful, mysterious, and profoundly aware. Birds, too, display remarkable ingenuity. Certain species like crows and New Caledonian crows craft tools from twigs, shaping hooks to extract grubs from bark. Some birds refine their tools by stripping leaves or bending tips for precision, and they often carry their favorite implements from place to place, proving memory and foresight. These acts are not instinct alone but learned behavior passed down through generations, a form of culture. Young birds watch and imitate adults before mastering tool use themselves. Such craftsmanship blurs the line between instinct and invention, showing that creativity exists even in feathers and beaks. Through these delicate acts, they mirror humanity's own spark of invention, revealing that intelligence is not measured by form but by imagination. Orangutans, high in the canopies of Southeast Asia, add another layer of artistry to the story of animal thought. They pluck broad leaves and shape them into musical instruments, pressing them to their mouths and blowing to produce varied tones. The sound depends on the leaf's thickness and moisture, and each orangutan experiments to achieve preferred pitches. This behavior blends curiosity, play, and communication, a primitive form of musical creativity. Young orangutans learn by watching adults, passing down this playful tradition. It's more than simple mimicry. It reflects awareness of sound, emotion, and aesthetics. Their leaf instruments transform the forest into a concert hall where nature and mind unite in rhythm and resonance. Dolphins, once again, astound researchers with their grasp of human-like grammar and syntax. In studies, they were taught sequences of sounds and gestures that followed specific grammatical structures. They learned that changing the order of cues altered the meaning, and responded accordingly. This comprehension goes beyond imitation. It reflects an ability to understand abstract relationships between symbols, a hallmark of advanced cognition. Dolphins' ability to process structure and meaning suggests that their natural communication may also have internal rules similar to language. It challenges the idea that only humans can grasp syntax and opens a door to understanding how intelligence evolves differently yet converges in purpose: to connect, to communicate, and to understand. Across land, air, and sea, these glimpses into the minds of animals remind us that intelligence wears many faces. It can be found in an elephant shaping a branch, a dolphin remembering a voice, a raven judging fairness, or an octopus solving a puzzle. It lives in the shared moments of care, memory, curiosity, and creativity that bind all sentient life. Each species tells a story of thought evolving in its own way, shaped by environment and need but always reaching toward understanding. The tools of elephants, the songs of whales, the justice of wolves, the invention of birds, the music of orangutans, and the language of dolphins, all whisper the same truth: that consciousness is not the privilege of one species, but the shared inheritance of all who feel, remember, and create. Intelligence, in its purest form, is not measured by words or machines, but by connection, by the gentle persistence of life striving to know itself. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check him. Within the ocean's vast and quiet realm, dolphins communicate through intricate patterns of sound, rhythm, and memory, forming a subtle grammar that mirrors human language in its complexity and emotional depth. Their minds weave meaning from the vibrations around them, adapting perfectly to the environment and expressing intelligence through connection. Similarly, in the dark roosts of caves and hollow trees, bats exhibit an extraordinary ability to recognize individual voices within colonies of thousands. Amidst a chorus of squeaks and echoes, mothers find their pups through unique tonal signatures, while friends and mates identify one another by familiar calls alone. These distinctive vocalizations serve as names within a rich social network sustained entirely through sound, requiring precise auditory memory and recognition. Even after long separations, bats respond immediately to the calls of familiar companions, demonstrating a remarkable capacity for memory and social awareness. This acoustic recognition within total darkness reveals that intelligence and emotion are not limited by size or form but thrive wherever life demands adaptation and connection. In the daylight jungles of Africa, chimpanzees display a deeply emotional side to their intelligence. After conflicts, they often comfort distressed companions with gentle gestures, an embrace, a touch, or soft grooming. These acts of reconciliation reduce tension and rebuild trust, showing not dominance but empathy. Observations reveal that chimps tailor their behavior to the emotional intensity of others, comforting most those with whom they share strong social bonds. Their actions show compassion that is freely given, not compelled, proving that kindness has ancient roots stretching deep into the branches of life's family tree. The peace they restore after conflict ensures group stability, mirroring human social harmony and reminding us that the origins of empathy are older than humanity itself. Among the scrublands, scrub jays demonstrate another profound cognitive skill, the ability to imagine the future. These birds plan ahead, caching food in places where they expect to be hungry later, carefully avoiding perishable items in warm spots and adapting strategies as conditions change. Such behavior requires more than instinct. It demands memory, imagination, and the mental construction of events not yet real. In their quiet preparations lies the essence of foresight, the ability to bridge the present and the future. This ability, once considered uniquely human, reveals that the spark of imagination lives in even the smallest minds, linking memory and possibility into one seamless thread. Beneath the ocean waves, dolphins share another extraordinary connection. Their heartbeats synchronize when they swim side by side. Researchers have discovered that close companions align not only their movements but also their physiological rhythms, their heartbeats rising and falling in unison. This synchronization appears strongest among bonded individuals, suggesting that emotional closeness influences physical harmony. Their matched rhythms likely result from shared breathing, movement, and awareness, reflecting deep emotional attunement. Much like humans whose hearts can sync during shared experiences, dolphins experience this unity as a living pulse of companionship. It enables trust and coordination in a world where cooperation defines survival. Beneath the waves, their bodies and spirits move as one, embodying the pure rhythm of togetherness. Even tiny creatures like bees demonstrate emotional depth once thought impossible in insects. Experiments reveal that bees can exhibit optimism or pessimism depending on experience. When trained to associate certain scents with sweet or bitter outcomes, bees exposed to stress hesitated when facing uncertain cues, as though expecting disappointment. Conversely, when given a reward first, they approached new scents with confidence, their decisions influenced by mood. Scientists found that dopamine levels, the same chemical linked to happiness in humans, fluctuated accordingly. Emotion, it seems, colors their perception of the world, guiding behavior and adaptation. Beneath their fragile wings lies not just instinct but a tiny glimmer of feeling, a consciousness that senses hope and fear, transforming reaction into reflection. In forests and cities, crows display an understanding of physics that rivals the reasoning of human children. In experiments where food floated just out of reach in tubes filled with water, crows dropped stones into the liquid, raising the level until the food surfaced. They chose heavier stones over lighter ones, showing an understanding of weight and displacement. When variables changed, tube width, water depth, or object size, the birds adjusted accordingly. Their problem-solving wasn't mechanical but thoughtful, rooted in logic and observation. Watching a crow pause, assess, and try again feels like witnessing a scientist at work, guided by curiosity and intellect. Their ability to manipulate cause and effect reflects not only intelligence but also an awareness of how actions alter the environment, the foundation of reasoning itself. Closer to home, dogs reveal that intelligence is often intertwined with emotion. Studies show that dogs dream about their owners. During sleep, when their paws twitch and soft sounds escape their throats, their brain activity mirrors that of humans experiencing vivid dreams. The regions associated with attachment and emotion light up, suggesting that they relive moments of affection and companionship. Well-loved dogs rest peacefully, their dreams calm and rhythmic, while neglected ones show restless movement, echoing emotional strain. This reveals that their inner lives are shaped by love and memory. When a dog dreams beside its owner, it may be replaying the joy of shared walks or gentle touches, proof that loyalty persists even in the quiet depths of sleep. Dreams become bridges connecting the warmth of waking life to the deep subconscious of trust. In the wild plains of Africa, elephants continue to astonish scientists with acts of cooperation and empathy. When a calf becomes trapped in mud or a waterhole, the herd responds instantly. Adults rush in from every direction, some pulling with trunks, others digging with tusks or pushing with feet. Communication flows through low rumbles and subtle gestures, coordinating the effort seamlessly. Sometimes even unrelated elephants join in, their shared urgency showing a compassion that transcends family bonds. These rescues can last for hours, yet patience never falters. Each elephant adapts its effort to others, displaying teamwork born from deep social awareness. When the calf is finally free, the group surrounds it, touching and rumbling softly in reassurance. This moment, a blend of strength, intelligence, and care, illustrates how cooperation and empathy sustain their society. It transforms survival into solidarity, turning the savanna into a stage for compassion. In laboratories, pigs surprise researchers with cognitive abilities that blend playfulness and understanding. They learn to manipulate joysticks and screens, mastering simple video games through experimentation and feedback. They recognize the link between their movements and outcomes, displaying spatial awareness and problem-solving. Far from the image of dull farm animals, pigs reveal curiosity, persistence, and joy in discovery. Their eagerness to engage mirrors the universal drive to learn shared across intelligent species. Together, these stories form a vast tapestry of cognition, from bees navigating by scent and emotion to dolphins syncing heartbeats and elephants rescuing their young. Each behavior, each spark of awareness, dissolves the boundary between instinct and intelligence. The world is alive with thought, feeling, and connection, expressed in ways as diverse as life itself. Intelligence is not a singular ladder with humanity at the top, but a vast landscape of understanding shaped by need, emotion, and imagination. From the synchronized hearts of dolphins to the empathetic arms of chimpanzees, from the cautious optimism of bees to the future-minded planning of birds, life continually proves that awareness takes many forms. It whispers in the darkness of bat colonies, hums in the rhythm of oceans, and blooms in the quiet cooperation of elephants. Each creature, in its own way, reaches out beyond itself, to feel, to remember, to care, and to connect. In that reaching lies the universal essence of mind, a living intelligence shared across the endless web of life. Pigs have astonished scientists by mastering video game tasks once thought far beyond their cognitive reach. Using joysticks connected to screens, they learn to guide a cursor towards specific shapes in exchange for treats, gradually realizing that the movement on the screen corresponded directly to their own actions. Over time, they adapted quickly to new challenges, demonstrating flexibility, focus, and memory. Even more remarkable, some pigs continued playing after the reward stopped, suggesting that they were motivated by curiosity and engagement rather than mechanical repetition. This ability to connect abstract visual patterns with physical motion reflects a sophisticated understanding of cause and effect. It reveals that intelligence and imagination thrive even in places humanity has often overlooked. Behind every playful snout lies a brain capable of wonder, a mind that transforms learning into discovery and curiosity into joy. In the sky, Ravens express their intelligence not only through tool use or problem solving but also through play. They slide repeatedly down snowy slopes on their backs, wings folded like skiers, only to climb up and do it again. They toss sticks midair, dive to catch them, and invent aerial games with their companions. These behaviors have no clear survival purpose. They exist purely for the thrill of motion and creativity. Through such play, ravens refine coordination, explore social rules, and express emotion. Observers note that their laughter-like calls echo during these games, revealing delight in performance. The raven's play is a form of spontaneous art, intelligence in motion, proving that thought can lead not just to survival, but to happiness. Beneath the ocean's shimmering surface, dolphins create rings of air, perfect silver halos that hover in water like delicate sculptures. They form them by carefully controlling their breath, releasing streams that twist into circles. With gentle flicks of their fins, they spin, merge, or pass these rings to companions. Calves watch, learn, and practice until they too can craft their own. This act serves no biological necessity. It is art for art's sake. Creating a ring demands precision, patience, and an intuitive grasp of physics. Observers describe it as performance, a collaboration of breath and rhythm, like music shaped by water. When dolphins burst these rings, releasing cascades of bubbles and joyful clicks, they remind us that consciousness seeks beauty and connection as much as it seeks safety. In the forests of Africa, chimpanzees display intelligence rooted in healing and self-awareness. When ill or injured, they chew the bitter leaves or bark of specific plants known to contain antibacterial and antiparasitic compounds. They do so deliberately and only during sickness, ceasing once recovered. Younger chimpanzees watch their elders during such moments, learning which plants to select, passing knowledge across generations. This behavior represents a form of natural pharmacology, healing born of observation and understanding rather than instinct alone. It blurs the line between medicine and intuition, revealing wisdom expressed in silence and survival. Deep in the oceans, whales communicate through songs that travel hundreds of miles, intricate patterns of sound shared across pods and generations. Yet in the modern age, their songs face interference from the constant roar of engines, sonar, and drilling. Instead of falling silent, whales adapt, raising their volume, shifting their pitch, and stretching their phrases to overcome the noise. When the sea quiets, they return to softer melodies. These changes reveal not only sensory intelligence but cultural flexibility. Whale songs evolve, just as human languages do, shaped by environment and shared learning. Young whales learn altered versions from their elders, proof that culture and communication persist even in the most turbulent waters. Their resilience turns the ocean's noise into a challenge answered by creativity and endurance, a symphony of adaptation echoing across the deep. In the mysterious world beneath the waves, octopuses reveal an alien form of intelligence that defies human expectations. With neurons spread throughout their arms, each limb can think, react, and learn semi-independently, yet all coordinate into a unified awareness. In laboratories, octopuses recognize individual humans, responding calmly to familiar caretakers and defensively to strangers, even when uniforms are identical. Some greet favored humans with colors of excitement rippling across their skin. This recognition lasts for weeks, showing both memory and emotion. Each interaction with an octopus is a moment of connection across species, a silent acknowledgement that understanding is not bound by form. When one lingers near the glass, studying the human watching it, the divide between observer and observed dissolves, replaced by mutual curiosity. On land, bees, among nature's smallest creatures, demonstrate extraordinary sensory and cognitive ability. Their sense of smell surpasses the finest machines, capable of detecting trace chemicals in parts per trillion. Scientists have harnessed this precision, training bees to identify explosives or diseases by pairing certain scents with sugar-water rewards. In minutes, bees learn to extend their feeding tubes when they detect the target odor. This training process is harmless and incredibly efficient. In controlled experiments, bees have successfully detected landmines and even diseases in human breath samples, transforming them into tiny agents of discovery. Such learning reveals that even miniature brains can link memory, reward, and recognition with astonishing complexity. The hive becomes a living laboratory of evolution, where cooperation, intelligence, and adaptability merge into perfect harmony. In the snowy wilderness, wolves communicate through gaze alone. Before a hunt begins, a silent exchange passes between pack members, a flicker of eye contact, a subtle shift in stance. These gestures synchronize their movements, aligning the group with extraordinary precision. As they close in on prey, each wolf adjusts its pace and angle in perfect coordination, predicting its companion's next steps. Researchers studying these interactions have found that wolves rely more on visual cues than vocal ones during hunts, using mutual awareness and empathy to act as one. Eye contact becomes language, silent, instant, and full of trust. This cooperation is not mere instinct, it reflects shared intention and emotional understanding, turning the hunt into a dance of unity and strategy. Across all these species, pigs at play, ravens in flight, dolphins creating art, chimpanzees healing, whales singing, octopuses recognizing, bees detecting, and wolves coordinating, intelligence reveals itself not as a human monopoly, but as a universal force woven through life itself. Each act of awareness, each display of play or empathy, erases another line between mind and instinct. The natural world is alive with thought, diverse, expressive, and endlessly inventive. Animals do not simply react. They imagine, adapt, and sometimes create beauty for no reason other than joy. From the bubbles of dolphins to the snowy slides of ravens, from the medicinal leaves chosen by chimps to the synchronized hunts of wolves, life demonstrates that intelligence is not measured by language or tools but by the richness of experience. These stories remind us that every creature carries within it a spark of awareness, a connection to the same curiosity that drives humanity to learn, explore, and dream. Intelligence, in all its forms, is not a hierarchy but a continuum, a living conversation between mind and world, spoken in countless tongues of sound, motion, and emotion. Wolves, though fierce, rely on an unspoken harmony born of cooperation and discipline. Before a hunt, the pack becomes one organism through gaze alone, each glance carrying purpose and awareness. In those eyes lies not dominance but unity, a wordless conversation transforming survival into shared intention. Their silent coordination speaks of trust, empathy, and instinct sharpened into intelligence. Similar depths of understanding appear in creatures far different, like parrots, whose intelligence reflects patience and fairness. In cooperative studies, paired parrots learn to take turns pulling ropes that release shared food rewards. They waited for one another, showing awareness of timing, sequence, and mutual respect. When their partners broke the rhythm, they reacted with surprise or frustration, proving an expectation of fairness. In the wild, these birds alternate songs during duet calls, mirroring the natural rhythm of dialogue where listening and responding give meaning. This synchronization is the foundation of empathy, showing that intelligence is not just about solving problems, but about understanding cooperation. Every pause between actions becomes a lesson in trust, transforming interaction into music between minds. Beneath the sea, dolphins exhibit similar social richness, forming distinct cultures across the world's oceans. Each pod develops unique traditions passed through generations. Some use sea sponges to shield their snouts while foraging along rocky seafloors, while others drive fish onto beaches in coordinated waves. These skills are taught through demonstration, not instinct, from mother to calf. Even their dialects differ, each group possessing signature whistles that define identity. When pods meet, they sometimes exchange parts of their songs, blending traditions like travelers sharing stories before drifting apart again. This transmission of behavior and sound is a true culture, proof that memory, creativity, and learning thrive far beneath the surface. Their songs carry not only communication but heritage, an oceanic record of life shaped by love, geography, and time. Above the waves, crows display another kind of brilliance, reasoning shaped by curiosity. In experiments requiring multi-step problem-solving, crows have learned to use one tool to access another before retrieving food. When researchers altered the setup, they adapted instantly, modifying strategy rather than repeating mistakes. Some even bent wires into hooks, an innovation requiring foresight and imagination. Watching a crow work through a problem feels like witnessing pure thought, patient, observant, and intentional. Their logic emerges from persistence and awareness of cause and effect, demonstrating that reasoning does not belong only to humans but to any creature that looks at the world and wonders how to change it. On land, elephants reveal a deep, quiet intelligence expressed through understanding human gestures. Without training, they naturally interpret pointing, recognizing that it conveys information about something unseen. This comprehension mirrors their own nonverbal communication, where trunk movements and posture guide herd behavior. Their ability to perceive intention, to look where another points and grasp the meaning, bridges the gap between species. It shows empathy, cooperation, and awareness that another mind holds knowledge worth following. When an elephant's eyes follow a human hand toward hidden food, it is less an act of obedience and more a moment of mutual recognition, a conversation spoken without words across an ancient divide. Closer to home, dogs too reveal subtle intelligence shaped by companionship. They possess a natural ability to estimate small quantities, a skill known as subitizing. When offered two bowls with differing numbers of treats, they consistently choose the larger one up to about 5 items. They even show surprise when quantities change unexpectedly, proving awareness of fairness and expectation. This sense of number helps them navigate competition and sharing, forming a basis for trust and social balance. Their simple arithmetic reflects quiet reasoning, a bridge between instinct and comprehension, born of their deep connection with humans. Through centuries of companionship, dogs have learned to measure emotion as keenly as numbers, reading gestures, tones, and even unspoken moods. Meanwhile, in the lush rainforests of Africa, chimpanzees rely on powerful memories to guide their movements through time and space. They remember which trees produce the sweetest fruits, returning years later precisely when they ripen. This recall involves taste, season, and geography, demonstrating a multidimensional sense of memory that integrates pleasure and experience. Researchers have observed them bypassing unripe fruit to seek known favorites, revealing foresight and emotional reinforcement through flavor. Younger chimps learn these patterns by following their elders, absorbing an inheritance of knowledge passed through observation. The forest becomes an archive of remembered sweetness, a living map of intelligence drawn in scent and color, proving that memory is both survival and joy. Ravens, often celebrated for cunning, reveal emotional depth through acts of comfort. After quarrels or fright, they approach distressed companions, preening their feathers or sitting close until calm returns. This tenderness appears intentional, aimed not at dominance but at restoring peace. Most often, such gestures occur between close allies, strengthening social bonds. Their empathy enhances cooperation and group stability, showing that compassion exists alongside intelligence. When a raven pauses its own flight to soothe another, it shows that wisdom includes kindness, that understanding emotion is as profound as solving a puzzle. In the depths of the sea, dolphins once again illustrate intelligence through sound. Using echolocation, they emit bursts of clicks that bounce off objects, allowing them to construct three-dimensional mental images of their surroundings. They can distinguish size, shape, and even internal density, effectively seeing with sound. This sensory mastery allows them to navigate dark waters, identify individuals, and communicate with remarkable precision. Some scientists describe this ability as a biological sonar merged with imagination, turning perception into art. Dolphins perceive not only where things are, but what they are, a kind of vision woven from echoes and memory. Across all these examples, from wolves hunting in synchrony to parrots taking turns, from crows bending tools to dolphins shaping sound, intelligence emerges as a universal language of life. Each species expresses awareness through its own rhythm, wolves through unity, parrots through reciprocity, dolphins through culture, crows through logic, elephants through empathy, dogs through fairness, chimps through memory, and ravens through compassion. These stories dissolve the myth of human superiority and reveal a broader truth, that thought, feeling, and connection weave through every living being. Intelligence is not one ladder but a web, stretching across oceans, forests, and skies, linking all creatures through shared curiosity. It is expressed in gestures, songs, and silences, in the glance of a wolf, the patience of a parrot, or the gentle comfort of a raven. The world, when seen through these connections, becomes a living conversation, one that whispers through the waves, hums in the canopy, and echoes in the quiet companionship of those who think and feel beyond words. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check important info. Crows are among nature's most ingenious problem solvers, capable of creativity that rivals primates. In experiments where they were presented with novel tasks, such as retrieving food from a narrow tube, they didn't rely on mimicry or trial repetition alone but on genuine invention. One crow, when given a straight wire, bent it into a hook to lift food from an unreachable container, a behavior never previously observed, proving that insight and foresight guide their actions. This ability to plan ahead and visualize outcomes reveals the spark of true innovation, not just instinct. In the same way, dolphins use their echolocation as a form of three-dimensional vision, emitting bursts of sound and interpreting returning echoes to see the underwater world with extraordinary clarity. Through sound, they perceive not only the shapes and sizes of objects but also their internal densities and textures, even recognizing individual humans by their unique echo patterns. This sensory mastery transforms the darkness of the ocean into a realm illuminated by vibration and rhythm, allowing dolphins to think in echoes, to remember in sound, and to navigate through a symphony of awareness. Octopuses, meanwhile, explore the sea through touch and taste combined. Every one of their 8 arms acts as a thinking limb, lined with thousands of chemoreceptors that taste the world around them. Each sucker can detect the faintest trace of a chemical in the water, distinguishing friend from foe, prey from poison, in an instant. Their distributed intelligence, where each arm processes information semi-independently before sending it to the central brain, creates a unique, decentralized consciousness, making them masters of adaptability and sensory perception. Their movements become thought in motion, a dance of flavor and feeling woven through the fabric of the sea. In the skies above, parrots mirror this depth of emotion and intellect. They comfort their distressed companions, gently preening feathers, whispering soft chirps of reassurance, and maintaining silence until calm returns. Their gestures speak of empathy and emotional understanding once thought to belong only to mammals. Within flocks, such behavior strengthens trust and unity, proving that compassion, too, can fly. Wolves, equally, express empathy through physical touch. After conflict or fear, they lean, nuzzle, or press their foreheads together, restoring harmony through contact. Their hearts literally synchronize during these moments of closeness, a physiological reflection of social healing. Touch for wolves is language, silent, sincere, and sacred. Within these moments lies the foundation of cooperation, ensuring that the pack hunts, protects, and thrives together. The emotional intelligence seen in wolves echoes across the animal world, from the forests to the ocean depths. Chimpanzees, our closest relatives, display culture and craftsmanship, turning leaves into sponges to drink from tree hollows. This delicate process requires planning, material selection, and demonstration from elder to youth, a passing down of wisdom that forms the roots of culture itself. Each rustling leaf used to collect water becomes evidence of intelligence in motion, a soft green symbol of continuity and learning. The same inheritance of knowledge lives in elephants, who can distinguish between human languages and respond accordingly. When they hear the voices of people known to hunt elephants, they grow alert and defensive, yet they remain calm upon hearing friendly languages. This sensitivity shows that elephants not only recognize tone but specific linguistic cues, associating them with safety or threat. Such awareness, passed through generations, mirrors our own systems of cultural learning. Their understanding of human speech, even without words, reveals a shared intelligence built on empathy and survival. Bees, tiny architects of order, also demonstrate remarkable flexibility in their communication. When wind distorts their famous waggle dance, a language that conveys direction and distance of flowers, they instinctively adjust the rhythm, duration, and angle of movement, ensuring their message remains accurate. Even in chaos, they adapt their communication to maintain unity and purpose. Through these rhythmic corrections, bees transform the hive into a living organism that responds intelligently to the world's every shift. Dolphins again emerge as symbols of empathy and protection, often aiding humans in distress at sea. Throughout history, countless accounts describe dolphins circling swimmers to fend off sharks or guiding them to safety. These acts appear spontaneous but reveal deep social awareness and compassion extending beyond species. The ocean becomes a stage for interspecies understanding, moments where life recognizes life, where intelligence expresses itself through action rather than word. Among the cleverest of all, crows exhibit independent innovation, finding creative solutions to unfamiliar challenges. Their minds reason through cause and effect, planning several steps ahead, adapting with flexibility instead of rigid instinct. Each act of invention is a reflection of curiosity evolving into intellect. Similarly, parrots understand cooperation and fairness, taking turns in experiments that reward mutual patience. Their rhythm of waiting and acting demonstrates not dominance but partnership, an intuitive grasp of fairness that echoes the human idea of taking turns. Dolphins, too, show culture, developing unique hunting traditions and vocal dialects passed through generations. Some use sea sponges as tools to protect their snouts, others drive fish onto beaches, a living proof that intelligence and tradition intertwine in the sea as they do on land. Crows visualize problems, elephants read gestures, dogs intuit numbers, and chimpanzees remember flavors tied to seasons long gone. Ravens comfort one another after conflict, touching softly to mend invisible emotional wounds. In every case, intelligence emerges not as a singular human trait but as a spectrum that connects all life. Across species, thought wears many forms, echoes in water, touches in fur, dances in air. Dolphins see with sound, octopuses taste with touch, wolves speak with silence, and bees dance their language through sunlight. Every act of awareness, from the tiniest bee's correction to the elephant's memory of words, reveals that cognition is not limited by shape or species but defined by connection. It is the rhythm of life itself, evolving through empathy, cooperation, and imagination. Whether soaring, swimming, or walking, each creature contributes to the vast, wordless conversation of intelligence that flows through the living world. From the wolf's nuzzle to the dolphin's rescue, from the crow's tool to the parrot's gentle comfort, the universe hums with awareness, a shared consciousness expressed in gestures of care, creativity, and understanding. In every glance, touch, and sound lies the echo of thought itself, the quiet truth that wisdom is everywhere, woven through feather, fur, and fin. Crows demonstrate a profound capacity for innovation, solving problems not through mimicry but by visualizing outcomes and reshaping their environment to achieve them. When a crow bends a wire into a hook to retrieve food, it displays foresight and a deep understanding of cause and effect. Unlike mechanical repetition, its actions arise from flexible thinking, evaluating changing obstacles and adapting accordingly. This behavior highlights the universality of intelligence, how creativity emerges wherever curiosity meets opportunity. Whales, too, embody social brilliance through coordinated hunting that spans vast oceanic distances. Species such as orcas and humpbacks maintain precise cooperation using complex vocal signals that travel miles underwater. These calls convey timing, position, and strategy, allowing them to herd schools of fish or encircle prey in choreographed unity. Their communication patterns vary depending on prey type and region, revealing not mere instinct but thoughtful planning. Within these acoustic exchanges, strategy transforms into music, a shared rhythm connecting separate minds across the deep, where the sea itself becomes a canvas for communication. Beneath the waves, octopuses express intelligence through play. In both wild and captive settings, they manipulate shells, stones, and bottles, sending them drifting through currents before retrieving them again, as if engaged in games. These moments of leisure, occurring when the octopuses are well-fed and unstressed, suggest that play serves no survival function but pure enjoyment. Such curiosity fosters learning and experimentation, stimulating brain development and awareness. Each interaction between object and motion becomes thought in action, a tactile form of imagination that celebrates consciousness itself. On land, dogs reveal their close cognitive bond with humans through their ability to interpret pointing gestures better than wolves. Even puppies with little exposure to humans understand that a pointing hand conveys information, following it instinctively to find hidden food or objects. This unique attunement arises from thousands of years of coevolution, where trust and communication evolved side by side. Dogs perceive gestures as expressions of intent, not mere movement, transforming a simple act into a shared moment of comprehension between two species bound by empathy and companionship. In the ocean's quiet folds, cuttlefish display episodic memory once thought to exist only in humans and certain mammals. They remember what they ate, where they found it, and when, demonstrating awareness of time and place. In experiments, cuttlefish revisited feeding areas associated with specific meals at the right time of day, showing temporal memory that merges past and present. Their recollection of experiences informs decision-making and foraging strategies, revealing a consciousness capable of connecting moments long gone with those yet to come. In their shifting skin patterns, those mesmerizing waves of color, lie echoes of remembrance, a visual language of memory. Ravens, with their dark gleam of thought, show an understanding of time itself. They store tools for later use, wait patiently for better opportunities, and plan for future rewards. When given chances to trade items for greater benefit, they delay gratification, displaying discipline and foresight. Observations in the wild show them caching food strategically, returning only when competitors have left, proving that their minds anticipate and adapt. Such temporal awareness elevates their intelligence beyond reaction. It becomes reasoning stretched across time. Chimpanzees, meanwhile, demonstrate the ability to anticipate what others will do, showing an early form of theory of mind. They predict where rivals or companions will move when searching for hidden food, using gaze, posture, and subtle cues to infer intention. This skill allows them to cooperate during hunts, manipulate social hierarchies, and maintain alliances. Their cognition merges empathy and strategy, revealing an understanding of others' perspectives that reflects the evolutionary roots of human thought. Elephants, majestic and wise, live by traditions as unique as fingerprints. Different herds across Africa and Asia have distinct cultural practices. Some dig water holes in specific ways, others follow ancestral migration routes, or perform gentle rituals to greet returning members. These customs persist across generations, passed through demonstration and learning rather than instinct. Calves absorb the lessons of elders, and their deep rumbles carry variations like dialects of sound, proof of identity and belonging. Through such traditions, elephants express loyalty not only to kin but to collective memory itself. Their behavior shows that culture is not confined to humanity but belongs to all who remember and teach. Dolphins, ever perceptive, sometimes recognize when they need help and seek it from humans. Documented cases describe injured or entangled dolphins approaching divers, presenting the affected area and remaining still as they are assisted. Once freed, many linger briefly before departing, as if acknowledging gratitude. These encounters reveal an extraordinary blend of self-awareness, trust, and understanding that crosses species boundaries. In those silent exchanges beneath the water's shimmer, consciousness bridges the gap between minds, proving that empathy transcends language. Among parrots, emotion finds another eloquent voice. When a companion dies, surviving flock members often gather quietly beside the body, touching it gently with their beaks, calling softly, or falling into uncharacteristic silence. Their mourning reflects emotional depth and recognition of loss, an acknowledgement of absence that strengthens social bonds. Through grief, they reaffirm the value of connection, transforming sorrow into remembrance. The stillness that follows becomes both tribute and teaching, a reminder that love and intelligence often share the same quiet form. Whales, too, carry memory through sound, recognizing the unique voices of distant relatives. Each pod's call is like a family name, resonating across miles of open sea, binding individuals separated by vastness yet united in identity. These vocal signatures persist for generations, evidence of communication woven into the lineage of life itself. Across every landscape, sea, forest, sky, intelligence manifests in countless languages: a crow's innovation, a whale's song, an elephant's ritual, a dolphin's request, a parrot's grief, a wolf's comforting touch. Thought is not a privilege of speech but a property of awareness. It moves through time and species, appearing in gestures, sounds, and silences. From octopuses playing with drifting shells to bees adjusting their dances in the wind, From dogs reading human intent to chimpanzees predicting the minds of others, the world hums with cognition in forms both familiar and alien. Each instance of awareness, each act of memory, planning, cooperation, or care, adds to the living tapestry of consciousness that threads through all creation. Intelligence, in its purest form, is not competition but connection. It thrives where curiosity meets compassion, where learning becomes love, and where every living being, whether winged, finned, or furred, joins in the unspoken dialogue of understanding that spans the earth. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check important info. Whales recognize the voices of distant relatives even after years apart, responding instantly to recordings of familiar songs carried across the vast blue distances. When they hear these echoes of kinship, they turn, call back, and alter their course through the open sea, guided by memories that bridge both time and tide. This recognition requires extraordinary memory and emotional continuity, a consciousness that connects moments long separated by the deep. Through salt water and silence, their songs become maps of belonging, each pattern of sound a living archive of history, genealogy, and love. They use these acoustic memories to maintain intricate social networks spanning hundreds of miles, uniting pods scattered across oceans and threads of sound that weave through generations. Within the rolling depths, their calls rise and fall like the pulse of the planet itself, blending past and present into a harmony that speaks of loyalty, remembrance, and unbroken connection. Octopuses, though solitary and alien in form, display an equally astonishing depth of awareness. They learn not only through trial and error but by observing one another. When one octopus watches another open a jar to retrieve food, the observer later repeats the same solution with remarkable speed, proving that learning can occur through silent imitation. To mimic an action requires the ability to watch, remember, and translate another's movement into one's own, a spark of empathy, coordination, and insight. In the soft shadows of coral reefs, this transmission of knowledge transforms the ocean into a classroom, where intelligence flows from one mind to another without words. For being so unlike us, their understanding mirrors our own curiosity, showing that thought exists wherever life interacts with life. Across the animal world, consciousness flickers in forms as varied as feathers, fur, and fins. Crows, ravens, dolphins, elephants, and whales, each reveals facets of reasoning once thought exclusively human. Crows bend wires to create hooks, planning steps ahead to achieve goals. Dolphins coordinate hunts and call one another by name, their whistles echoing through shifting waves. Elephants mourn their dead, revisiting bones in silence, tracing them with their trunks as though remembering the stories of those who came before. Parrots grieve companions lost, their calls turning soft and solemn, proof that emotion and understanding are intertwined in every living being. Dogs, bound to humans by millennia of trust, read our gestures not as movement but as meaning. When we point, they follow not the direction but the thought, translating intention into action. Their loyalty is not blind obedience, it is comprehension born of shared history. Cuttlefish, moving through the dimness of the ocean, remember the time, place, and flavor of their meals days after they occur. Their minds hold on to moments with precision, proving that memory and time exist even in those who drift far from the sun. Ravens, those black-winged philosophers of the sky, store food and tools for the future, returning only when conditions favor them. Their patience reveals an understanding of time's passage, a sense of tomorrow that guides today. Chimpanzees, our close relatives, anticipate what others will do, interpreting gaze and motion to predict behavior. This foresight, rooted in empathy and strategy, shows the evolution of thought through observation. Elephants, across Africa and Asia, maintain unique cultural traditions, different ways of digging for water, distinct songs, and ritual greetings passed from elder to calf. These behaviors form the heritage of herds, echoing the diversity of human culture. Knowledge flows not through language, but through presence, imitation, and shared experience. In every call, gesture, and pattern there is memory. In every memory, there is story. Dolphins, ever the poets of the sea, recognize when they need help and ask for it. They approach diverse with calm purpose, showing injured fins or tangled lines, waiting patiently as if understanding that another species can aid them. Once freed, they linger, turning their gaze upon their helpers, a wordless thank you carried in the silence of the waves. Such behavior blurs the boundary between instinct and reflection, between creature and companion. It speaks of an awareness that sees beyond self. The natural world is not mechanical but mindful, a symphony of perception playing in countless forms. Even tiny bees recognize human faces, mapping patterns and distances within their small yet efficient brains. Bonobos resolve conflict not through aggression but with gentle reconciliation, using eye contact and touch to restore peace. Crows use traffic lights to crack open nuts, timing their movements with human rhythms. Every act of adaptation becomes an act of intelligence. From the smallest insect to the largest whale, life is thinking, remembering, and feeling. Each species carries its own language of thought, an unspoken grammar of motion, sound, and silence. Parrots whisper sorrow, elephants remember kin, ravens plan for the future, and octopuses teach through quiet imitation. Awareness exists everywhere, though it takes many shapes. Beneath every wave, within every forest, intelligence hums softly in the patterns of survival and connection. It is curiosity that unites them all, the restless reaching toward understanding, the urge to learn, to create, to remember. When we look at these creatures, we glimpse not just difference, but reflection. Their thoughts, though unspoken, mirror our own, the longing for connection, the memory of loved ones, the joy of discovery, the sorrow of loss. The earth itself becomes a vast mind, thinking through its creatures, feeling through their motion, remembering through their song. And as night falls, when the noise of the day quiets, we can almost hear it, the low murmur of consciousness threaded through every living thing. The forest breathes with us, the ocean listens, and the sky turns softly as if in thought. Life, in all its forms, becomes one great meditation, an endless exchange between awareness and existence. In that stillness, we realize we are not alone in our thinking. We are part of a world that remembers, that feels, that dreams. Beneath every surface, something is alive with thought. The whales sing of kinship, the octopus learns by watching, the parrot mourns, and the dolphin asks for help. Each act, each sound, is a thread in the vast web of knowing. And as we drift deeper into quiet reflection, we too become part of that web, breathing, remembering, and resting within the same rhythm that guides all life. Let your thoughts float like those songs beneath the sea, calm and endless. Let stillness settle in your heart. The world around you hums with quiet understanding, and in that harmony, both thought and peace are one. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check important.